Welcome back to the Beauty Inspires Beauty podcast, where we are just still trying to figure things out as we go. No joke. I just spent the last, few minutes trying to figure out some stuff on my computer, and no better person to do it with than my unicorn friend, who I can't even call her somebody that works for me. I some days feel like I work for her, but that's when you know you found someone super special. And I want to introduce you guys to she was a virtual assistant, but now she is like my online bestie. I can't live without her. And I realized doing business in life just really sucks if you don't have support around you. So Mirjana, welcome to the show.
Thank you. This is really exciting.
Ridiculous. So I always am so honest with you guys. So literally we just spent a few minutes. My computer was full. I have been behind the chair for 20 years in the industry, right? I have not needed to really learn anything on my Mac. I've used it for basic shit. I hate the fact that we even have these. I still wish we had a flip phone. I'm not lying. Social media, online stuff is so overwhelming to me, and it's prevented me and held me back in so many ways. So that's when I knew I needed to hire somebody like you, who these things just seemingly come easy to. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I know I want to share all the things, but tell us who you are and what you're into right now.
Okay, so my name is Mirjana Lalic, and again, thank you so much for having me here. It's exciting, right?
Yeah.
And right now, like my biggest two things, I always say I would have like two aspects of my business of what I do. So the first thing I do is support people like you, six-figure entrepreneurs that need help in the online space, that are either too busy because they're focusing on their business, or just really get stuck with this like technical stuff, right? I'm sure you don't want to sit there doing landing pages and trying to make graphics. If you could be doing podcast episodes and showing up in your stories, or whatever the case may be, or behind the chair, or whatever it is that you need to do to grow your business. So I'm there to support that. And also I have my whole like squirrel squad thing going on. With the mompreneurs.
So I know what your squirrel squad is, and I am officially a squirrel for sure. And I think a lot of us creatives, when you hear that word squirrel, you're like, oh my God, I am totally a squirrel too. Squirrel, I think, means, if I can just guess like what it means to me, is someone who always has like a million things going on in their brain. They have a hard time sometimes organizing, and maybe even they can't organize, but then the implementation and to what order things are meant to go. And that's why I said earlier that you have really helped me break down what's most important and give me kind of small task to-do lists, which make it a lot less overwhelming. And yes, to what you just said, like I could figure out how to do a landing page. I could figure out how to do a lot of the things that you do. I know it would take me 10 times longer, and the level of frustration is just priceless. So to have someone like you doing a lot of this stuff for me, it's literally changed my whole vibe about having my own business like this.
100%. And one thing I love about what you said is how basically I give you like smaller tasks. So that's my whole thing. Like a lot of times what I find is when people are stuck in their business for whatever reason, it's because they're overwhelmed. They put too much on their plate and they have too many ideas and too many directions. And they're like, oh my God, like, what do I do? So they freeze, right? And I know especially people like you and like some of my other like larger clients, it's just so much going on and so many ideas. Like you're filled with ideas. Like every day you have like 5, 10, 15 ideas coming in. And I'm like, all right, hold on, we got to hone it in, right? We have to see like, let's do this first. Let's see what happens. And then let's move here. And then let's do this. And then let's do that. So I'm very like strategic with, planning it out, I guess you could say, where I don't jump to the next step unless we completed something first. So that's a huge thing with getting out of squirrel mode.
And I'm the person that has like 17 tabs open in my head, and I'm like, I did one thing for this, half a thing for this, and I thought about doing this, but I didn't actually do it. It's like, yeah. And that's why, again, I think it's really unfair that some people get a brain like yours, and then some of us get stuck with the like, all we can think of are these big crazy ideas. But I guess in the world we need both, and we need people to help us implement ideas and kind of help us create and bring a vision to life. And so I just want to thank you personally for helping me like get the ball rolling with the podcast and with like getting my proper automation set up for the business, because you don't know what you don't know. And then once you do know it, you're like, shit, how do I then take it to the next level? So walk us through what you used to do before you started this business, because this wasn't something you always did, right?
No, I just recently got into the space in October. Yeah, October of last year. So what is it, like 6, 7 months? I don't even know, 7, 8 months. So prior to that, obviously the whole world got, hit by COVID. So I ended up home last March, like prior March, with a job that was lost. And I'm like, well, like now what am I going to do? I'm either going to sit around and mope, right? Or I am going to put myself into action and do all the things I always dreamt about doing, all the things I always wanted to do and didn't have the time.
Okay, so did you think about creating a business like this before? You just had no idea where to like step away from one thing to start another?
For years. I think like anybody that's ever worked with me in the past, like 15, 20 years knows that I was like, I know there's something better out there for me. I know there's something I can do. I know there's something more. I know there's something more meaningful and, where I could work for myself and do my own thing. And so my biggest thing was always like having to ask for permission for things. Like, and especially like, it was bad before I had kids, but when I had kids, it was even worse. Like, going, and I have 3. So 3, you can see my math skills. 3.
So like, fingers. If you're listening, yeah. You know that 4 fingers.
So I'm not good at math, but I am in finance. I've been in finance for years, so that's like a funny yeah. Yeah. So obviously when I had kids, it changed, right? You got to take off all the time. They get sick, they go to daycare and then one gets sick and then another gets sick, then I get sick. And it's like this ripple effect that goes down and it's like I'm missing work for 2 to 3 weeks at a time. And obviously it caused issues. It caused problems. It caused tension. It caused a lot of things. And I'm like, there's got to be a way if this happens where I can still stay home and still have income and have it not be a problem for anyone. Why is it a problem? Yeah. So which is why I was so like heartfelt about having other mompreneurs have that same flexibility, to be able to do that as well, because it hurts, right? Like you want to make income, you want to take care of your kids, you want to have family, you want to be able to kind of balance everything, but nothing ever felt like it was balanced. So I was like, that's it. Like, this is my chance. It's now or never. All the time before, obviously, it was like income. I was scared. I was afraid to take that leap, to drop consistent income, to try something that was unknown, right? And I think that's the biggest thing when becoming an entrepreneur. But when the world just like put it in my lap and was like, here, like you don't have a job, probably for God knows how long, what are you gonna do? So I'm like, I'm gonna use this as an opportunity. And I went in like day one, I went in like hard, and I just every single day showed up and went in the online space and invested in myself, which is a huge like life changer. And I'm like, I'm just never going back.
Great. So walk us through that. So I'm sure there's a lot of people that are relating to your story right now, whether you're in corporate or maybe you work for a salon, because we do talk to a lot of beauty professionals where you do have to ask permission to leave. You do have to ask permission to step away. Or if you're not at the salon because you're sick or your kids are sick, you're not making income. A lot of us are stuck trading time for money behind the chair. And like I just said, if a client cancels, you don't make money. So I'm sure a lot of people on here are creative and think of a bazillion other things that they could do that could possibly make them money. How did you step back and say, what are the things that I'm good at that I could monetize? And how did you define like what type of clients that you wanted to work with?
So, the funnier part about this,
people like
I had no idea. I had no clue. I went in blind and I'm like, I'm doing a thing and I don't know what that thing is, but I'm going to get out there and do it.
Okay. So what was your first step then? That's perfect. So what was your first step when you dove into the online space? Like, what were you even looking for? Like, did you type in how to start an at-home business? Like, what did you even look for?
So I was in network marketing.
Okay.
And I was doing well. I had like 10 people on my team, but I'm like, I want to make it to like top level network marketing to be able to stay home. That's the route that I thought was going to get me out of where I was going to go. So it's like I started with one thing and it just transformed into something else. Okay. So I was looking online on how to use attraction marketing to grow my network marketing business. That's how it all started. And I came across Jillian's Facebook group one day or somewhere. And, she caught my eye and I'm like, wow, this girl's like really good. Like,
he is referring to Jillian Murphy, who was on an earlier podcast episode. We'll link which episode it was in the show notes. And Jillian is both of our sales coaches. She has a 20-year history in corporate sales, but then took her business online, teaching other people how to sell without being salesy and just like have sale with confidence. So that's actually how Mirjana and I met, was through her group. So there's just like the power of connection. Like you found her online, I found her through a mastermind, we found each other. Like that's why I think you guys always hear me talk about it's so important for like proximity, getting yourself in rooms, even if it's virtual right now, so you have the ability to meet your next business bestie or your network business idea or whatever that next thing could be for you. If you're not getting out there, if you're not online looking, you're not meeting, you'll miss all those opportunities as to what could be next.
100%. Yeah. So I found Jillian and I was like right away, blown away by it. I'm like, so it is possible. I can do this and I have to make the move to jump and invest in myself. And obviously it was scary. I just lost a job. I lost a job. I don't know what's going on in the world. And I'm like, here, I'm just going to go and like invest in something that I'm not even sure what I'm doing. But I did it. It was scary, but I jumped in and I did it.
That's amazing. So you had your corporate job. And then you had
at the time I was working at a daycare. Yeah.
And then you also had your network marketing business on the side.
Yes. So I did that move and I went into the program with one thing in mind where I'm going to grow my network marketing business. And like not even a few weeks later, I'm like, wow, this coaching thing is like really cool. I'm like, I want to learn about this. I want to do this. I feel like I can do it, and I feel like I want to be able to impact all those mompreneurs out there that want that extra income. And then that's how Mompreneur Power like came into existence. Where I started that community for mompreneurs who were either like me, where they wanted to always do something, or they already started something, but they were kind of stuck in that phase of, I don't really know what to do or how to do it, and I need help. And that's how that community came about. So we started that. We just hit 400 members the other day. So I'm like, that's like exciting for me,
That's amazing. In the what is it? You just said like 6 months, not even. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you. And that's where it started. So I ran with the group. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing with this group, but Jillian said in her program to make a group. So I made a group and I'm doing it. And I was using all the attraction marketing things that I was learning, strategies and all that. And little by little, people started messaging me and saying, hey, how can you help me? Hey, I have this business and I need help. Hey, I need help with my Instagram. I need help with my Facebook. I need help with this. And I'm like, wow, there are so many people out there that need help with this. Like, it's great. Like for me, it's easy to go into Canva and create a quick graphic or, I don't even know what, a little video, or to go to YouTube and like create a video or make a landing page or send email marketing. And I was like, wow, I was mind blown at the amount of people that didn't know how to do it, and that were really stuck and holding themselves back. And I'm like, is this really what's holding them back from their dreams, essentially, from leaving their 9-to-5 that they're miserable in to be able to stay home and have that work-life balance? I'm like, I gotta help these people.
No, honestly, like it sounds ridiculous to be 40 years old and say, I don't know how to do something like that, but everybody could figure the things out. I think what people realize is that if it doesn't come easier naturally, or if you're not enjoying doing it, like if you don't really love getting into Canva and creating the graphics and doing that, if you don't really love writing copy for your sales page or for whatever it is that you're doing, like it's okay to bring someone else in to do that stuff for you. Because if you're stuck in your business doing all of the daily grind stuff, you won't have time to do what your zone of genius is. So if you want to start a coaching business, like how I'm doing as well, you've transferred into actually coaching as well. So we'll talk about that. But my whole thing was, I want to have amazing interviews, work on the podcast, and really coach and create content, but I don't want to have to figure out all the other stuff. So being able to send stuff over to you and then it just get done once you learn my brand voice and what I'm trying to, like, my message, to have that support is like amazing. So explain to us so you went from there, you created your Facebook group, you created a community that then started telling you what they needed. So did you build your business model around what people were asking for?
Basically, I started picking up on certain trends, things that people consistently asked for, words that they consistently started using, language that they consistently started using. And I'm like, okay, so, again, another thing that I learned in attraction marketing is use the language of your ideal client, right? So if my ideal client keeps coming and telling me, hey, I'm stuck and I don't know what I'm doing, like, that's the language now that I use. Like when I'm, let's say, posting on Instagram, I'm like, hey, are you stuck? You feel like a squirrel? You know how many people tell me they feel like a squirrel? So I'm like, wait, this one feels like a squirrel, that one feels like a squirrel, this one feels like a squirrel, hence Squirrel Squad. Yeah. So I'm like, you can start noticing trends in your own potential clients. So if you can pick up on that, or if you can't, like, have someone to help you. I needed help. I needed help to pick up on it. I didn't see it right away. So I needed that mentor or that coach to literally point it out to me and say, hey, listen, like, don't you see a trend over here? Like, they're all kind of the same. They're all on the same. And I'm like, oh my God, you're right.
Well, again, when you're in it, sometimes you can't see the things. And that's how, for me, in my business, I feel like I'm in a lot of this stuff, and you just say one thing and you're like, hey, yeah, everyone's kind of saying this, or everyone's kind of doing that. I'm like, oh, and it simplifies it again. And when someone can help you simplify, that's why even though you've done something, like, you still have a coach or a mentor or someone that led you down that path or helped you see the bigger vision for what it is that you could create.
Yeah, 100%. So it's nice. So then from there, that's when I started offering consultation calls. And then the consultation calls led into me literally offering packages that I never offered before. I'm like, let me just offer a package. And people started taking them. And then I got like word of mouth referrals. And honestly, it's grown from there. That recently, over the past month, I started adding team members. So I'm like, because how can I now grow this, right? Like, I don't want to just stop here just because I like got here and I replaced my income. Like, I feel like I could do bigger things still and do more and have more purpose. And, it's exciting. It's definitely an exciting journey.
That is so cool. And all in the matter of 6 months. And I think, when I reflect back during the time when the pandemic first like shut us all down, I don't think people were like they hadn't really wrapped their head around how long we could actually be closed for. I know a lot of people like lost their job, but then people like us who, I mean, I have my own business, so no one's going to tell me I couldn't work, right? Like, I could have illegally worked, or I could have done things to make money or whatnot, but there was that stigma around like, well, that's not the right thing to do. We should all do the right thing and stay home. And so it really gave me the space as well to like run with this and really see what I could create. And that's where this podcast came out of. And I think that's the difference between, I wouldn't say I was like fully ready to go, but I think I had done enough baby work, enough, I watched this course. I was part of a mastermind prior to opening the salon. That's what pushed me to open the salon. So it was like being around it, that when the opportunity like kicked me, and said, you can't go in the salon anymore. It was like, well, I already had 10 things on deck that I was ready to do. And when I tried to kind of relate that over to my industry with the brunches that we had been having, people weren't in the right mindset in the head frame for it. They weren't, a lot of them were doing really well, which was good at the time, but then it was like the one singular thing that got taken away. And so it was like my mission and purpose to teach people, like, you need multiple streams of income, or you need to have options, and creating something that is very much your own, that doesn't require you to trade time for money, is like the best thing you could ever do for your business. So if you are in the industry and you're listening to this story and just so inspired by her being able to transform in 6 months, so many of you guys have talents and skills that are very similar to what she does. If you love doing stuff like that, think of ways that you could create a side business. Or if you work in a salon with 10, 15 people, there's your immediate client base right there. You could then go into their business, figure out what they need. Like she just said, learn their pain points and kind of tailor something around and create a package, and really just be able to, build up other people's businesses while you're still working on yours. So where do you intend to go with the Squirrel Squad and the coaching? Do you have a vision for your business?
So for Squirrel Squad, we did finish our first round recently, like 2-3 weeks ago, and it was a huge success. And the squirrels really saw movement, which was amazing, because I'm like, it's funny when you start this stuff and you do it, there's always that self-doubt that comes in, right? Like, can I really coach? Like, am I really capable of this? Am I really capable of getting people unstuck? And, you question all that, and then it's like, all right, well, stop thinking like that and just get in there and do what you truly believe you can do for them. So I went in for 8 weeks and I gave them my heart and soul. And I really worked with every single one of them. And of course, it was the ones that had to participate as well, right? Because you can't join this stuff and just be MIA. It's very hard to get results like that. But for the ones that showed up on the calls, that showed up on the one-on-ones, that showed up with each other and started networking, those are the people that saw the most movement. So I'm like, this is something that works. Like, you just have to put in your part of it, right? And one thing that I love that you said was how you joined a mastermind when you were getting started. And like that changed you too. And I think a lot of it has to do with being in the network. So the Squirrel Squad is also, it's a network. It's this little tiny community of squirrels that can literally refer each other business and, and that does wonders. Even now myself, I'm in a mastermind myself now. And I can't see myself not being in one. Even as I continue, I feel like I'm constantly going to look for the next thing to invest in, because I feel like just putting myself around those people that will support you and give you that community and all that, it's a game changer. It's a life changer. I can't see myself growing the way I did or starting a business the way I did without investing.
Right. And without this, investing really just creates a solid support system of people who have all put some skin in the game and are willing to show up for each other as much as they are for themselves. And again, like being now as an accountability coach for this larger mastermind that Chris and Lori Harder put on, there's over 100 people in there. And watching through the last round, which there are about 6 months are the rounds, watching what goes on in the Facebook groups, watching what goes on and how they network with each other, the ones that are stepping up and really investing their time where they've already put their money, get the biggest rewards. People like Jillian, who like they go full on. She joined that mastermind like 3 rounds ago, and she took everything that she learned and implemented it right away. A lot of people, creatives like myself, get stuck in the what's it called when you ingesting. They always want to learn. I'm going to read the next book. I'm going to listen to the next podcast. I'm going to get motivated. I'm going to get ready. It's like you keep getting ready to get ready, and then they never do the thing. And so if someone is resonating with that type of language, is joining like your group for Squirrel Squad, will that help get them into action with whatever that they're doing?
100%. And a majority of the people in the Squirrel Squad are just those people. They're the people that joined, I don't even know how many programs already, learned all the things, and then just keep consuming and keep consuming and keep consuming and have all these notebooks and printouts and all this stuff. And I'm like, but what's the point if you're not doing anything with it, right? It's funny. I actually told one of my friends, I'm like, I think you just need to like throw out your notebooks. I'm like, because now they've gotten to a point where they're just hindering you, right? They're stopping you. So it's great to invest and it's great to learn and it's great to consume, but to a certain point. Like you have to consume enough and then act on it, and then consume and act. And again, that goes back to like going through the process, right? Like let's do this first, and then this first, this. Because if we do everything at once, we're stuck. It's too much. We go into overload. Our brains go into overload. Can't handle it.
Yeah, all of that. And that's what I see too when it comes to people in the industry trying to do too many clients and booking themselves, thinking if I just take more clients, then I'll make more money, versus not what else am I good at? Like I have to go off and teach pottery too. But it's like, if you have a skill set that can serve the client base that you already have, if you've already built a pretty good business behind the chair, like I loved personal training. So I literally took clients from behind the chair and then went into personal training. Now, again, still trading time for money, but it was like I doubled down on those same clients. And getting client acquisition can sometimes be the hardest part in starting a business, is getting people to actually sign up or actually pay for your services. So like, that's why I love network marketing. And that's why, because it's sometimes a second nature to whatever it is you're already helping somebody with. So same with me joining Monade, it was like, what do I already share with my current clients? Hair, skin, my advice. So pushing them into trying this product or even being a part of the business was a natural fit. So people like Jillian, she's in what is that she uses it for focus?
Amari.
Yeah, Amari. So it's like, I think I do talk a lot about network marketing, but there are other business models, other business structures that can be feeders into your business as well and help create an additional stream of revenue and or become your next new business, like how you now started a whole other business.
Yeah, and I'm a huge believer in multiple sources of income. So I know, like I did mention before, like I was in finance for a really long time, like banking, bookkeeping, accounting, like all the stuff, probably for about 15 years. So the importance of the multiple streams is huge for me. So I still, even now, like even, with what I'm doing now, like the OBM/VA work, the coaching thing, network marketing, I'm still like, well, okay, there's more streams out there too. Like, me and my husband are talking about now even possibly getting into real estate investing. So it's like, I'm always on the lookout for an additional stream, and I don't want to stop, right? I feel like why stop? Like, why stop your dreams? And, just go for it. Be bold and go for it.
Totally. And growing like that generational wealth that you can leave to those 3 kids who will probably all each have their own kids and family. It's like, that's the dream, I think, in American, is to be able to like make an impact, make an amazing income, and then to leave something behind for the next generation too. And just to really like make your mark while you can help people. And I think a lot of people that listen to this podcast too have a heartfelt, heart-centered, need, want in the business. And that's why they are a service provider, making people feel beautiful. We have I have friends that are personal trainers, that are tattoo artists, that are just like creative entrepreneurs. And, I just challenge you guys to listen to this again if you need to, and just hear, the power in opening your mind to shifting, like, okay, yes, because I watched so many people sit and suffer when their salon jobs were taken from them. Just like, I think thank God we got some unemployment, but it also crippled a lot of people because they fell victim to easy money. They fell victim to not having to fucking get shit done and make shit happen because they were pushed up against the wall. They were handed a bunch of cash and it was fine for a few months. And if that triggers you or bothers you, I'm probably talking to you. So, I preach, like, I took all the money that I got from unemployment and invested it back into my business. And that, of course, was a personal choice. I knew where I could focus that and know it would bring me, a return on my money for that. But if you guys have any questions, Mirjana is open on the DM. She's very, very knowledgeable when it comes to like getting started. So if you're feeling stuck or if you have any questions, her Squirrel Squad, I think, are you guys about to open another round, or is that?
June 1st. Yeah.
So
It's actually until May 1st. If you enroll before May 1st, you get a little bit of a discount. So
a couple days. Perfect.
Yeah.
So this podcast drops on Friday. So what's the date going to be on Friday? Is it going to be the 1st on Friday?
I think so. Yeah.
The 1st is the 30th. So when you guys hear this episode on Friday, you'll have through the weekend. Will you honor it through the weekend on the 1st and 2nd? If you hear anybody,
I can 100% honor it through the weekend until Monday. Yeah.
Okay. You guys heard it here. So hopefully, if this is something you've been needing, if you're on the verge of starting, or if you're feeling stuck in your business, I really hope that you reach out to someone like her, because it's a game changer. Thank you so much. This was so fun to get to know a little bit more of your backstory.
Thank you. And I'm super happy I was here.
Definitely. If people want to get into your Facebook group, is that an open group that anybody can join?
It is a private group. It's Mompreneur Power. So obviously, if you're a mompreneur, or like I said, even if you're a dog mom, it's okay. I will never say no. But yes, anybody is welcome to join.
Okay, very cool. We'll have all that in the show notes, because you know what? You do the show notes, so they'll be in there. Okay, this was amazing. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Beauty Inspires Beauty podcast. We always love to hear your takeaways and want to know if there's anything special you would like to hear from us. I'm always on the lookout for special guests that I can share their story and bring you guys some insight and thought on ways that you can grow your business, and just success stories to help you know that anything is possible. And we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.